Hello and welcome to another episode of Unboxing Women, where we explore why women in business are often called such a bitch, with a focus on the music and entertainment industry. My name is Dana Rexx, and with me is my friend Maika Rose, and we are both independent recording artists and singer-songwriters based in Europe. You can listen to us on our YouTube channel and on your favorite podcast platform. Today we have Ashley DiBuduo here, and she did publicity and marketing at a myriad of indie labels, and after launching her own firm in 2016, went on to handle media relations for events by AEG, Live Nation, and other independent promoters. In addition to being co-publicist for Dropkick Murphys and a number of music festivals and touring events, she has handled red carpet and talent management for the Alternative Press Music Awards and has worked on a number of specialty campaigns, including the launch of Eddie Van Halen's 1978 high-top sneakers, as well as Halloween and horror-focused events. That's so cool. She also works at Hollywood's esteemed contemporary music college, Musicians Institute. So, Ashley, for our listeners who don't know what publicity is exactly, please tell us a bit more about what your day-to-day looks like.
Yeah, well, first off, thank you guys for having me. Really appreciate it. And then as far as publicity goes, mainly what I do, obviously it varies depending on if you're handling publicity for events versus handling publicity for albums. But the ultimate goal is upping your awareness for whatever it is you're promoting. So it usually involves sending out press releases, getting news items, setting up interviews, getting, album reviews if that's it, or if you have an event, getting people out to the event, to review the event, to preview the event. So it's all relations around the promotion of a product, be it an event or a release of sorts.
Or an artist, yeah.
Yeah, or an artist, yeah.
Cool. Well, I love that you're doing, you have like a specialty in these horror-focused events. I think that's so much fun. And Halloween was a couple of weeks ago. So, did the pandemic get in the way, or did you work on a couple of things this year?
Yeah, I did. I'm a big Halloween obsessive nerd person. Like my best life would be just living in a Halloween bubble all year round.
I agree.
To be honest. But I work with a company out here in Los Angeles called Midsummer Scream, and they're like the biggest Halloween and horror convention in California. So they do a plethora of different events. They actually have an event coming up in December at the Pasadena Convention Center that's a Christmas horror-focused event. So called Season Screamings. So like we have that coming up, and then prior to that, they had like a trick-or-treating event closer to Halloween. Before that, there was a Halloween event that was focused. It was early. It was prior to Halloween, and it was around the all the different events that we have in Los Angeles, and those events announcing what they're going to be doing, for the holiday season. So yeah, I'm a busy lady when it comes to Halloween stuff. And like I said, my best life would just be like Halloween all year round.
I like that.
I like scary stuff sometimes, but as Dana knows, I don't do super well with scary movies.
Well, there's so many different kinds.
Oh yeah, definitely. So many different kinds. Yeah. Just stay away with dolls. Don't give me anything with dolls.
Duly noted.
But no, that sounds really cool, actually. Like, so you do basically how did you get into that? How did you get into doing more kind of creepy Halloween-y stuff? I mean, it probably was a choice, but
well, as far as that goes, I've been obsessed with Halloween scary stuff since I was like a little kid. Like, I'm like 6 years old, just watching stuff I probably shouldn't be watching, and becoming obsessed with it. And in Los Angeles, partially because of the weather, and because of the theme parks out here, there's just a huge Halloween and horror community. And so the opportunities out here are, there's a lot compared to other cities, you know what I mean? And so there's a really big network. And so living out here, me and another, my best friend, we actually have a website that we created that we review just different Halloween events that are going on. And so we ended up just going to so many of them that you end up meeting people and knowing who's who, and you end up just kind of half living there because you're going so often, you know what I mean? And you end up just, it ends up, it's like a big, small network, you know what I mean? Like there's a ton of people, but when you go to these things so frequently, you realize it's like the same people that you see that are really like these obsessives that are in the same thing. And when you are someone like me, who I'm like, well, I also have other talents that I can bring to the table to possibly help. And it's something that you're truly passionate about and you love. Usually everyone's in that community is helping each other, and you end up just kind of like intertwining and seeing how you can help elevate what everyone's working on. So that's kind of what happened there. And, coincidentally, like, way back in the day when I was working at a record label, one of our bands, one of the guys in the band, Winds of Plague, Johnny Plague, he's the drummer. He was super into Halloween, and he started doing Halloween stuff. And me and one of my girlfriends were lucky enough to work on like the bar within a haunt that he was working on.
Oh, okay.
And now he's like one of the top creative guys at one of the, top creative Halloween entertainment companies. You know what I mean? So, it's like everyone kind of makes their own way, like into really that.
Funny.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's
so I'm hoping to do more in that area. And I'm just happy to be doing what I'm doing in that area.
Good. Doing what we love. Always a good thing.
100%.
I also saw, well, in the intro, there's red carpet. And what I didn't know before I started my solo career as a singer, I didn't know that red carpets also had like a publicity and a PR facet to them, and that you actually, when you arrive, that they announce you even. Do you have a little more information about that?
Sure. So I actually haven't handled the PR side of the red carpet. I've handled the talent management side of the red carpet.
And what's the difference?
So basically there's two sides. The PR side is, hey, we're going to have a red carpet. So if you're handling the PR side, you're reaching out to media to set up the section that's going to have the photographers and who's going to get approved for that section, and then what media is going to be approved for the red carpet and where they're going to be lined up on the red carpet, and helping schedule interviews in advance, if that's something that the artists are going to be doing. And that falls in line with more like traditional PR, and then the talent management, which is more what I like. I tend, there's a few different sides of PR. There's the side that's the more creative side with writing and pitching and angles and getting creative and fun. And then there's that like logistical side that's very like scheduling and numbers. And I like that side a little bit more. It's a little bit more like my thing. So I definitely like the talent management side more, because what that side is liaisoning with the artist managers and figuring out, okay, is your band walking the red carpet? Okay, great. Who is coming? What time do they want to come? Like making sure that they have their place cards written out, and basically the reason you do that is when you go, you hold up a sign that has like the artist's name, so that when the photographers take the photo and then they're looking back, they know who they photographed, or like
they hold it up and then everybody takes a picture and then they move on. Okay. Wow.
Exactly. So when they're scrolling through their photos, it's not like, who was this?
Yeah.
and making sure that the interviews are kind of running on time and no one's going back. And there's a whole flow of the line of like, all right, we have like an A-list celebrity coming through. This person can't be waiting in line for 30 minutes. How do I get them to the front of the line without causing an issue with these other people that have been waiting for 30 minutes? And it's very like on your feet problem solving, get them through to the end, make sure all their interviews are done, get them up to their seats, get them with their escorts, make sure that their escorts are getting them to the right places. I like doing that. So that's more like, for example, like the APMAs, that's what I was doing.
And that's it's on the ground. You're actually there. It's not like only up front before the event. You're there and doing the thing.
That sounds super stressful. Like cool and
so much fun.
But super stressful.
Yeah, it is super stressful. It's one of those things like if you prepare yourself, it's much less stressful. If you prepare like accordingly, but it keeps you on your feet, and it is stressful, but it's also like very rewarding when it works out. Like, for example, the last time we did it, every single band that wanted to walk the carpet got to walk the carpet, and we got them all wrapped up 10 minutes before the carpet was done, and everyone was happy. And like, I don't know how, like, I kind of know how, but like, I also don't know how. And I was just like, yes. And it was like so rewarding afterwards. You know what I mean? That like even the stress in the moment, it was just like, we did it. So it was like worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like a lot of problem solving and, trying to get people to do things without telling them to.
Yeah. So it's weird. I guess, I don't know. I must get some weird satisfaction out of it.
Yeah, maybe, but I think it's also you have to know a lot about people and be able to kind of, especially if you're meeting them for the first time, then kind of be able to think on the spot and be like, okay, this person seems like they might be like so and so I can do this with them, but I can't do that with them, and stuff like that. So that's a lot of knowledge there. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, well, it's really challenging, and I think I like challenging myself. It's fun, or maybe I like to stress myself out. I don't know.
Well, either way, it sounds like a lot of fun.
And I also saw Live Nation. I'm immediately intrigued. Was that more the publicity and marketing side, or did you also go to these events? Did you do anything at these events themselves?
Oh yeah. So basically, so one of the things that I do is I do PR for some larger festivals. And so of the festivals, I work for some that are Live Nation and AEG festivals. So basically AEG and Live Nation will hire me to handle PR for some of their events. And so that is a mixture of, handling all that event PR as far as like PR around the event and the awareness and advancing all the stuff with the artists and all that jazz. And then it depends on the event. Like, for example, the AEG event, they handle all of their own stuff on site. So I'm at home during that event, but I'm like on a computer that whole weekend, making sure there's no issues, making sure that I'm available on the phone and the email so that even though I'm not on site, if there are issues, I can help coordinate, versus the Live Nation one, I'm usually on site helping make sure everything goes smoothly. If there's any TV interviews, making sure those get worked out, helping, in the photo pit, make sure that like all the photographers and the security are on the same page. And usually the events that I work, I'm there. And then like a handful of them I'm not there, but either way, it's always a good time. It's always nice to see the event that you've been working on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I'm hearing photographers and security guys, And that's what we're here to talk about, because Unboxing Women obviously is about, when have we been called a bitch on the job? Has this ever happened to you?
Lots of festivals. Most of I would say, like, I don't know if I've been directly called a bitch, like maybe like not to my face, or if I have, I maybe don't remember, but I definitely know that there's been that implication before, and I think that I would say the issue I deal with the most is at live events, because, I'm 5'2", I'm a small little lady, you know what I mean? And, for the events I work with, I am in the photo pit, and I am working with the security, and usually the security heads are fantastic. You know what I mean? They're like, whatever you need, we got you, let us know. But then when you're in the photo pits and you're helping kind of lay down the law, people change their minds and they decide they don't want to listen to you, and they decide they want to ignore you. And it many times will take getting a large man for them to listen,
Okay.
Like it's like they know that you're the one that is granting them access to even be able to come to an event, and you're the one that's granting them access to be able to take photographs or review. But then as soon as they, it's time to go, and you're telling them they don't want to listen to you and they want to ignore you, and it takes getting someone larger than you to actually, get them to listen, which is sad,
Yeah.
So you're using the security as like a helping hand to, to say, hey guys, this is not okay. I think that's interesting too, because I don't think we've had that angle yet on the show.
No.
Where, usually it's, oh yeah, and we need to kind of elbow our way because they're not taking us seriously. But you actually, can say to the security guy, okay, I need your help over here. So, he's on your side, and he's in your camp, and he's going to do that. That's great. Yeah.
That is great. But it also is very sad that it takes physical, what is it, imposure, like to be imposing over somebody to get people to do what you ask them to do, like
instead of just listening to you in the first place.
I mean, is it stuff where they just kind of go too close to? I mean, what kind of rules are we talking about that they would be like?
So usually with photo pits specifically, the standard kind of rules are photographers are allowed in to shoot the first 3 songs in the photo pit of an artist. And then after the first 3 songs, they have to leave. And obviously it varies if the band has different rules, right? But so what will usually happen if there's an issue is 3 songs are up, it's time to go. Most of the people go. And then you have like a few people that just refuse to leave. And they're just in there. So you're in there like, hey, it's been 3 songs, you need to go.
Yeah.
And you'll just get ignored. Or like, okay. And then they move 2 feet, and then they just back with the camera, and they just will not leave. And then you have to like, I'm not going to waste my time if you're not listening to me. You know what I mean? I'm just going to get someone to help.
I mean, that sounds like they didn't get the proper shot, and then it's on them. They shouldn't be wasting your time because they didn't do their job properly.
Yeah. Or there'll be situations where like sometimes we'll try and like if we'll deal with photographers where, because there are other fests sometimes where like we'll have so many people that want to cover, and if we could help everyone get a photo pass, we would, but like there's limited capacity. So maybe it's earlier in the day, so not that many people are there yet. So we'll be like, look, you don't have a photo pass because of the capacity, but you're here and it's not at capacity yet. So we'll let you in to shoot this band, and we'll just, let you get a few shots because it's not full yet, right? And then we'll find out, and they'll be very thankful. And it's very obvious this is like a favor that we're doing because we're trying to help you out,
Yeah.
And then we'll find out that when the headliner's on later that night, when it's very obvious there's not room for them, they're in there telling security, no, that girl said I could go in, and just lying. You know what I mean? And it's again, just like, what are you doing?
That's not professional. That's not professional of them. Is it?
It's very not professional. And then when we make a stance on it next time, like, look, this is what we found out. It's just a big, like, it spirals into some like bullshit lie, usually,
Is this all men? Because I know there's a big boom of female photographers out there for events and artists and everything like that. Do you get this kind of behavior from women as well?
We get it from women as well. I've noticed it's more men, but that might just be because I feel like there's more men photographers at the events we have. It might just literally be a numbers thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but women do it too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would have suspected women to do that at least as well. Maybe the staying and being like, oh no, I still want to shoot. Maybe.
Oh yeah, or
but
maybe
yeah. It doesn't seem a thing that is subject to gender really. But what I wanted to ask is if because we also do this show. To show young women or any woman of any age who wants to come into the industry, how you got where you got. So basically, I always ask, what would your advice be to somebody who would want to get into the position you are in and get into the game? What's the primary advice you'd give them just to start off with?
I would say just to keep in mind that, like, whatever you want to be doing, there are a ton of other people that also want to be doing what you're doing. And to keep that in mind. Because I feel like, I also work at a college and I deal with students that are trying to get into the industry all the time, And I think about when I was trying to get in the industry, and I don't think I realized it at the time, but now in hindsight, I think I was like a little bit of like a hustler person, you know what I mean? And I didn't get discouraged very easily. For example, my first job, well, not my first job, but like my first like big job, right? My first big label job, right? I had reached out and, I was just like, hey, I'd love to work here. Like, here's my resume, blah, 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 blah. And, the owner of the company had responded to me and basically was like, look, there's a company on your resume that there was they basically had a tiff with the company, right? And he was just like, thank you for submitting, but like, we don't really work with this company, right? Which, whatever, right? Like, what can I do, right? And I feel like most people in that situation would have been like, all right, and I had responded and I was just like, I really appreciate you letting me know, but I would just like to point out that my area of this company does support your bands. And like, you know what I mean? I just kind of like pushed back a little bit, like, and explained what we did and explained why I personally like why this company doesn't represent me and why I'm different. Yeah. Why, you know what I mean? But then wrapped it up with like, but anyway, thank you so much for your consideration. Like, good day. Mm-hmm. And I got a response back with a ton of interview questions and I ended up getting that job. But like, it's because I pushed back a little bit, you know what I mean? And I think that's important because I think that a lot of people, like, I feel like sometimes that's what people are looking for. They just want to know that you actually want it. Or like my first, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Syndicate. They do a lot of like street team promotions, or at least they used to when I was younger. I think they still do it. But I remember being in high school and applying for a job there because it was like, cool, I could pass out flyers and get paid for it. Like, what an amazing high school job, you know? And no one responded to me. And I was so bummed. And then I followed up with them. And as soon as I followed up with them, I got the job. And it's just like, they're waiting for that initiative. And I think a lot of people nowadays, or a lot of students nowadays, aren't doing that necessarily. So I think it's just, you just got to show that like you want it, you know? And I think it's important to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
That's great
Amazing.
advice.
That's really great advice. So actually, that's a great end to our podcast episode today. So I'm going to say that's all for today. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Unboxing Women. And thank you, Ashley, so much for coming on the show. It was really great having you.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
If you want to connect with Ashley, be sure to check out her socials, which you can find in the show notes below. And if you've ever had an experience you'd like to share with us, send us a DM or tag us in your post with the hashtag #SuchABitch. This is a weekly show, so make sure to tune back in next week, same time, same place. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.